Welcome back. President Hage Geingob and accompanying cabinet ministers and senior government officials recently had a 3-day state visit to South Africa. The state visit expected to afford Namibia and South Africa an opportunity to strengthen bilateral cooperation, enhance economic cooperation and explore trade and investment. And to give us feedback on the President's state visit to South Africa is State House Press Secretary Dr. Alfredo Hengari. Dr. Hengari, always a pleasure having you here. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be here with you, Nina.
Thank you. Just to start with, perhaps you can give us your overall impression of this visit that the President undertook to South Africa.
I must say that it was a highly successful visit. As President Geingob reminded his counterpart and brother, President Cyril Ramaphosa, that in South Africa, Namibia has a neighbor, but more importantly, Namibia has a friend and a comrade on the basis of the shared history of the ruling party SWAPO and the ruling African National Congress in South Africa. And that provides a sound basis for the two leaders to understand each other on a number of issues that were put on the table in the areas of trade, in the areas of customs unions, and as well as on the diplomatic and political front. President Geingob and President Ramaphosa are both members of the SADC Organ Troika, which is chaired by President Geingob. President Cyril Ramaphosa as outgoing chairperson of the SADC Organ Troika, as well as President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia, who is the incoming chairperson of the Troika. So there's a very good understanding in terms of what should be done in the region, and President Geingob reinforced the need for the two countries to work closely in dealing with the challenges in Eswatini, the challenges in Lesotho, where President Geingob basically told President Ramaphosa to continue as the facilitator, notwithstanding the fact that President Geingob became the chairperson, because of the confidence and the trust that the two leaders have in each other. On the economic side, Namibia and South Africa are interlinked. They're countries that are interdependent on an economic basis. South Africa is Namibia's largest trading partner, and vice versa. And in that sense, there is a lot of scope that was emphasized to grow the two economies as well as opportunities for trade. In addition to that, President Geingob also emphasized the need to deal with whatever issues that emerge within the partnership, be better coordination around the customs union, as well as on the trade side, because Namibia has an opportunity to industrialize within the customs union, and those are issues that President Geingob managed to put on the table. But there is the third binational commission that will take place later this year in Windhoek. That was the agreement between the two leaders, and a larger contingent of South African businesses on the basis of well-calibrated sectors will visit Namibia. So the relationship between Namibia and South Africa is really at the right level.
President Geingob was the first head of state to address the National Executive Committee and the African National Congress during his visit. Talk to us about what his core message was here.
Yes, President Geingob had the honor, as President Ramaphosa himself emphasized, that he is the first head of state and head of a political party to address the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, which is also a demonstration of the confidence and trust and the esteem that the leadership of the ANC has in President Geingob as an experienced statesman, and also someone who has been able to provide leadership in this country under very difficult circumstances. So the President emphasized some of the challenges that SWAPO is facing, but also the opportunities, and also how SWAPO as a party has been able to deal with some of those challenges. So this was an excellent exchange between two comrades speaking to the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. In addition to that, President Geingob also had a meeting with an old friend, President Thabo Mbeki. They know each other from Lusaka. President Thabo Mbeki was the former president of South Africa, as we know, and they discussed regional, continental issues concerning peace and security, but also other matters that are of concern to the two leaders. So it was a highly successful state visit, as I mentioned. A number of issues in the bilateral relationship have been well articulated by the Namibian side, be it in the field of agriculture, be it in customs union at the political level. So I must say that it was quite impressive, the nature of the state visit and what Namibia has been able to achieve through that state visit, because at the end of the day, what is important, which is what President Geingob has emphasized during the official talks, is the prosperity of the two countries. Development must accrue from these types of exchanges, and there's no doubt that an important step has been taken in the bilateral relations between Namibia and South Africa in order to benefit the people of the two countries.
Yeah. The president said that South Africa will also benefit from Namibia's offshore oil and gas discoveries. Please just briefly expand on that for us.
Yes, indeed, there was a discussion not only with regard to the oil discoveries in the Orange Basin, which is also not far from South Africa, but also on green hydrogen, which Namibia has been pursuing and pushing quite aggressively, and we can see the results in the form of the launch of pilot projects specifically in the Erongo region. On the question of oil, President Geingob, yes, did mention that in light of the partnership that exists between Namibia and South Africa, and also the economic interdependence between the two countries, it's logical that if Namibia discovers oil, South Africa will be a potential client. There's no question about that. So I don't think that the media should read much into what the president said.
Now, energy generation is one area that both countries have a challenge with, Dr. Hengari. How can they cooperate to overcome, the energy shortages?
Yeah, which is what President Geingob also mentioned during his discussions with President Ramaphosa. Green hydrogen provides an opportunity for the region. It's a potential game changer, and Namibia will have an opportunity to sell the excess energy to a big economy like South Africa, which President Geingob emphasized as a potential off-taker of that green hydrogen.
All right. Well, Dr. Hengari, anything you'd like to leave us with in your final remarks?
Yeah, I think it's quite important to once again emphasize that state visits of this nature are about the development of the Namibian people. And once again, with the state visit to South Africa, which was at the invitation of President Ramaphosa, is a step in the right direction, and it is part of the post-COVID-19 economic recovery plan that President Geingob has been pushing over the past 3 years.
Thank you so much, and thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you, Nina.
That was State Press Secretary Dr. Alfredo Hengari joining us this evening to give us some feedback on President Hage Geingob's just ended visit to South Africa. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.